Welcome back to Designing with Purpose, Architectural Innovation with Mathia Santi, the podcast dedicated to helping you scale your property business and make smarter investment decisions. Today, we are diving into the foundational impact of innovative architectural design, exploring how creativity and technology shape our living space and property value. Joining us is Mathia Santi, a visionary architect and a driving force at SASE Studio. Mathia uh, brings a unique perspective on creative, high quality designs that truly cater to individual needs, emphasizing the power of design in property development. Matia, can you hear me loud and clear?
Hi, Zakir. Yes, I can hear you properly, and thank you for inviting me.
You are welcome. Just to let you know that this is a podcast recording and it may takes between 30 to 40 minutes. Does that sound good with you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes,
Matia,
absolutely fine. Thank
we had a great pre-call and I'm really excited to dive into our topic today. The ROI of
you.
innovative architectural design in property development. For our listeners, let's start by setting the stage. From your perspective, what are the most significant trends or shifts you are currently uh, observing in architectural design for a property development in the UK?
Ma let's say it is a moment of significant change in UK. Like there are important regulatory changes. There are important new standards coming in 2026, and there is, I would say, at international level, a general shift in architecture practice. In in the in previous years we had the architecture that was focused on creating iconic gestures. Nowadays architecture is more focused around responsibility and considering the environmental and social impact of project in society and on the environment. So I think it's more about responsibility, accountability, and I think that there is a let's say architecture is becoming let's say much more front loaded and evidence based. So especially when we talk about high risk buildings, but in general I would say that this applies to every project. So I think that this is an important change. So the shift in the um, regulation standards and like uh, social expectation from architecture, but also like I think is an important moment in which new technologies are entering in the architecture space. For example, artificial intelligence is definitely having a considerable impact in the way we develop design, in which we communicate design, and probably also in the way we deliver design. So I think there are several factors shaping contemporary architecture. And I think also, there are important aspects like circular economy that are becoming key factor to consider in the design of contemporary project. For example, material use, reduction of waste. These trends are, prioritizing design approach like adaptive reuse, retrofit, that are becoming like, important elements of contemporary architecture practice. So there are new standards, like for example the net zero carbon building standard, that will become like very important to look at and consider in the design process. And I think another important aspect that is influencing contemporary architecture is wellness and health, because they are becoming crucial and very well integrated in hospitality projects, for example, and also they are becoming extremely important also in residential projects. So these aspects are shaping, the way we do architecture and the way we decide, what we include in our architecture projects. So I think another important aspect are, for example, design for neurodiversity and sensory cognitive accessibility, all elements that are making our profession much more responsible. And somehow we can say there is a much more science that goes into designing a project nowadays, and this I think is affecting a lot architecture trends and client expectations about buildings. Yeah.
It's clear that a deep understanding of design impact is paramount. You highlighted how AI and other technologies are reshaping architectural design process. AI for technical tasks and rendering. Can you give some example of how SASE Studio leverage AI for rendering? Like covering caches into the drawings or streaming repetitive tasks, following for more creative and strategic design work.
Yeah, I mean, artificial intelligence, is clearly having a profound impact in our profession. At SASE Studio, let's say we have been, working with, we always work with the latest technology, and we have been always working with generative design method and algorithmic design methods, since many years. So, many, we have been always working with, let's say, algorithms like genetic algorithms or form finding methods or, simulation systems to help us discover new geometries, discover new material, new behaviors in specific geometrical arrangements. And I think that AI is being, is an important addition to this, already kind of, this plethora of tools we have been already implementing in our design process. What I think that is, very characteristic of our studio is that we have been working with generative method since many years. So it's not the first, we are not just approaching generative design with artificial intelligence. So in these years, we have acquired a kind of very mature approach to, let's say, use the generative methods to leverage algorithm and artificial intelligence in the generative process, in the design process, but making sure that our design intelligence remain in control of the design output. So we need to make sure that the design, the architectural output we produce is tailored to our users and to the user experience that you want to deliver at the end. So I think is definitely there are definitely important tools that help us in different phase of the project. For example, artificial intelligence is very important also in the exploration of in the design research, in what we call the solution domain, where we explore what are different layout arrangement, design solution, design ideas, and can help make sure that we deliver the client more quality. We can work with the client and make sure that we've been exploring many more options, many more possibilities to make sure that they take informed decision. And after, artificial intelligence also plays an important role when it comes to visualization. It facilitates, the creation. Although, let's say, we always have our own internal visualization, then AI can help to add a certain element of realism, certain element of simulation. Will be very hard to achieve from a computational point of view. But with artificial intelligence, this can be done, with reducing the computational power required to achieve certain effects, and also facilitate the communication. But of course, it is part of a set of technologies like virtual reality and digital simulation that remain still relevant and actually are complementary to what AI is doing, and actually they can be very well integrated together.
So basically, what you are saying is AI is helpful, but but it is end of the day you need to review what AI has done for you, yeah, to make sure that you need to check after.
Yes, yes. I mean, it is so AI can help to deliver. In our vision, AI helps to deliver additional quality, more quality to our client, but
Yeah.
it doesn't become a substitute of our creative problem solving, our design intelligence. And I think this is very important. Everyone, of course, is free to use AI as they prefer, but
Yeah.
this is our approach. So we definitely leverage the opportunities provided by AI to
Yeah.
give to our clients better quality in our project, but we still remain in control of the design output.
Yeah.
Is like, think about, like, when you go to a restaurant and you have a chef preparing like a meal for you. You still want the chef, you can automate for sure the creation of a plate somehow, but you still want, or you can still follow a recipe if you want, but you still want
Yeah.
the personal touch of the chef to
Touch
prepare
of
your
it.
meal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And same thing is for photography, right? For example, think
Yeah.
about a photographer. The machine can do a lot for sure for the
Yeah.
photographer, but then it is still depending on the photographer
On the
to create
yeah.
an output that
No.
goes beyond just the technical output. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That is incredibly valuable. For boosting efficiency and creativity. Now let's address common misconceptions.
Um,
You touched on how property developer often comes to architects with specific demands without fully understand their
yeah.
underlying needs. What are some of the biggest mistakes you see property developer makes in this regard?
Yeah. Yes. Thanks. Thanks for repeating the question.
Welcome.
So, yeah, thanks for this question. So, I think what is very, very important is that um, like, the way projects are developed in the last 10 to 15 years is has changed a lot because the regulation have changed. There are new duties on designers, on clients, on professionals involved in the project. There is a like a very different way of delivering project thanks to new technologies, and also there is a much more requirement in terms of documenting and creating evidence to support the design decision, and during the design stage, but also after the construction stages. And also it becomes very important also to monitor the behavior of a property after it has been completed. So I think it's very important for developer to take all these factors, all these requirement, all these compliance requirement, but also like all these monitoring requirement, this documentation and evidence requirement into account from the beginning, because they require specific expertise. And it's very important that, projects have been designed taking account all these factors, and because it then becomes very difficult to fix the project later if certain things has not been resolved at the beginning. So what I really believe is that it's very important for developers to set up the right team that covers all the required expertise, and all the disciplines involved in the project are covered during the design stages, to make sure that the project, if built according to the design, is fully compliant with the regulation, but is also properly designed to meet all the functional requirement that are expected from a building during its own lifespan. And also, I think what is important to consider is to take in account that user needs can change over time. So is important to include in the project a certain level of resilience, to build projects that are resilient and capable to adapt to future needs, and take in account not only what they're going to build, but what happens when the lifespan of the building ends, and you have to recycle material, and understanding the full life cycle of the building and the material involved in the project itself. So I think is very important for developers to take these aspects in consideration at the beginning of the project. Yeah.
So, Mathia, my question is, if a developer come to you, they bought a building, they want to convert under PD right just from inside, okay? They want to convert, for example, between 5 to 10 flats. Do they need to come to you first, an architectural design, or they need to go to somebody else right in the beginning of project?
I mean, they, most likely for this type of project, they will need a principal designer. And I think, the principal designer is, of course, the project, if you go and check the RIBA stages, there are different stages. So if they are in a RIBA stage 0, so they may need to have some, initial financial consideration, some consideration before starting a project. But if they already, let's say, completed, let's say, the typical task of a RIBA stage 0, I think, let's say, they can come to speak with us, and first thing it will be understanding, the new duties they have, under the Building Safety Act, understanding what are the duties as client, understanding what are our duties as designers, and also understanding, who will be taking the role of principal designer. That will be is an important requirement, and probably, from there will be let's say, a clear direction of what becomes necessary in the project. But yeah, so yes, definitely, I think having a chat with us is definitely very important at the beginning of a project.
It sounds like personalized and in-depth approach is crucial. Looking ahead, sustainability and new materials are incredibly important in property development. How does SASE Studio integrate sustainable design principles and innovative materials into its projects?
I mean, we try to have a integrated design approach, so we don't look at things separated. We look at materials and sustainable solution as part of the overall design strategy. So one important thing is that we tend to work with teams of specialized consultants. So we always prefer to have, to have the support of a specialist consultant working with us for each one of the disciplines that affect the project, to make sure that, we are updated on all the latest standard, and we try to implement in the project the most appropriate solution from for each discipline that is affecting the project. So yes, we have let's say a sort of a holistic approach in which we try to look at the design process as a process in which we need to find the equilibrium between different disciplines affecting the end result. So sustainability, including but also taking in consideration safety, taking in consideration, for example, fire safety, structural design, MEP. So is, let's say, a holistic approach that needs to take in account in an iterative approach all the disciplines that will affect the project and will determine the final performance of the building.
Mathia, finally, if you were to offer one key piece of advice to a property developer looking to create more valuable, functional, and marketable properties through effective architectural design, what would that be?
Yeah, it's a complex question. I mean, there are a lot of advice you could be giving, but what I think is that as a principle is that as I was saying, a good design needs to put together and take in consideration multiple stakeholders, multiple functional requirements, and better to solve problem as soon as possible instead of tend to delay the solution of certain problem. It's better to do this consideration at the beginning of the project to facilitate coordination and make sure that there is ways to test, simulate, because nowadays we have the technology to do studies, simulate, and test the solution before we implement them on site. Also, it's important to work with mockups, test, work with third-party certified products. But there is also an important aspect to consider that clearly when the market tends to use a lot of third-party certified products, there is probably is possible to think there will be a sort of emergence of certain preferred solution because it's more easy, for example, to find this product on the market, or it's easier to certify the product because many designers are using, for example, that product, that color, the finish, and this is interesting because it opens somehow, if the industry tends to create assets that somehow have some common characteristics, these from an entrepreneurial point of view, opens an opportunity because if you are able to stay compliant but build something that has is still fully certified but is also unique, this can become a unique selling proposition to the market, and probably you can create something that can be better performing on the market. But of course, this this is a generic advice, and my personal point of view needs to be considered case by case and project by project. But yes, this I think these are several aspects that should be considered from a developer point of view. Yeah.
Mathia, this has been an incredibly insightful conversation. You have given our listeners a comprehensive understanding of the ROI on innovative architectural design in property development. Thank you for sharing your expertise from SASE Studio. Before we wrap up the official podcast segment, I want to ask you something that often it comes up with our audience. For many property professionals, the biggest challenge isn't just understanding what good design looks like, but consistently implementing it across all their projects, especially when it comes to finding developers who prioritize innovative and sustainable design. If you had a magic wand and you could solve one persistent bottleneck for SASE Studio that is holding back your growth or making it hard to connect with property developers who truly appreciate and invest in high quality, forward thinking architectural design, what would that be?
This is a very difficult question, let's say. But I
It's
think
very
that,
easy question,
you know,
it's just what is stopping you right now, your growth, your if you want to
I
connect with the
think,
property developers, if you want to, grow your
yeah, I
business,
think,
what is it
as
stopping you?
Yeah, I think as architect, of course, let's say we are, tailored to, we are part of a team. And I think, one important thing is to, work with developer, real estate agents, and architect from the beginning. So to really understand what is the market expectation, understand what the client are looking for, to make sure we develop assets and buildings that are tailored to the market expectation. Contemporary society has specific needs. They changed a lot from previous generation. There is is important to understand, the correct narrative that you're building, and to be able to translate this narrative in tangible assets. So these are important aspects. Think, for example, the automotive industry. If you think about, like, automotive industry is very related to the capability of creating a brand identity, right? Like, when you have a luxury car, for example, if you think about the cost of a luxury car per square meter, sometimes
Yeah,
it's higher than luxury real estate developments. And but like, one important thing that but that is the same car and deliver probably the same service that an average, an average car could provide, right? So, but what is happening is that there is a very good and clear branding strategy that help to create asset that meet specific client
required.
expectation. So,
Yeah,
exactly. So nowadays, sometimes you have property that are being sold or put on the market just based on their postcode. Okay, I build a development in a high-end postcode, and this is going to be the price that I expect to be selling per square meter. And sometimes, people don't really care, what they are really, what level of quality they are providing in the development. And I think this is an important aspect to consider. So, like, making sure that, of course, like, the postcode where you build the development is fundamental, but also, like, really making sure what's the value proposition, what are the quality elements, not just respecting the minimum standard level, but considering all the best standards available there to make sure we deliver to the end user, like, real value. And this helps this property enter to the market, be like, become like a project that people want to be part of. And I think also is also important not to look at property in isolation, but think about development as creating a community that needs to have relationship to each other, and also strong relationship with the context. So creating, design this asset in a responsible way, taking account all the social aspect and how these asset will integrate into the context where they will be, where they will be built. So I think and this can only happen if you have a very strong team collaboration, coordination from the beginning. with all the actors that will be taking decision in the project. So taking into consideration the community, but working on a weekly base or daily base with developer, and taking consideration of the stakeholder, and making sure that we already take in account the opinion and the indication of people that know well the market and can advise on at early stage on what should be done to meet the client expectation and the end user expectation and the community expectation. So I think yeah, so I mean, like, would be great to be able to build this sort of ideal teams from the beginning on each project, because this will really make project proceed very smoothly, and they reach and be very efficient. So yeah, I think this is an important aspect. Yeah.
So what is it stopping a SASE Studio from connecting to the property developers, and also thinking forward, for the designs?
Our company at the moment still has most of our if I see our portfolio, probably like we had as director, we had a good experience working on projects that have been built around the world, but our company is still young, and most of our small scale projects have been completed, while the large scale projects have still not been completed. So this, I think, is an important factor, because as soon as the big projects are being completed, client are building additional trust on the company, and this facilitate establish new conversation. But in general, I would say that when we uh, with our client, we generally have a very long-term relationship, and our client become repeated client, because they see how we work, and they see how much effort we put in every project, and they know that they can have with us a weekly conversation, and we are always available there to test, try, and make sure that we reach, let's say, win-win solution for everyone. So I
So
think yeah, this is also a very unique characteristic of our company. Yeah.
so basically, do you have any marketing strategy to bring new clients, to connect to the property developers, or you are currently just
We don't have
on
specific more.
word of mouth? Yeah. Are you working
Yeah,
on
we
word
don't
of
have
mouth
Yes, we are working a lot on word of mouth, and using social media
recommendations?
and our. Yeah, yeah, I think, yeah, and we work a lot with social media and our website to showcase, what we do, our ideas, our project. We don't follow specific strategies or marketing strategies. Probably we should improve on that side, but we are more about showcasing our design approach, our ideas, and working with people to deliver together great projects.
So you need to work on more on your marketing strategy to have a specific
Absolutely.
audience to target them through your marketing strategy. That is a
Yes, yes,
that's a
absolutely. This is
that is a
important.
really
Yeah.
clear focus. Um, Mathia, thank you again for such a valuable discussion. I know our
Thank you.
audience, our listeners will get a tremendous amount from this episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your
Thank you,
your
Zakia, for
podcast.
inviting us. Yeah.
So